Hello, everyone. My name is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained. And yet again, I brought another fantastic group of independent comic book creators. So please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, let everybody know we're here. And without further ado, I'm going to bring on my favorite co-host or co-host.
Oh, brother. How did you say something so controversial yet so brave? Hello, everyone. My name is Daphne Lage, dealing with some nonsense that came up at the last minute, and I'm a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York. I have been self-publishing comics with this degenerate since 1992. And we are the creative team for the Furry Fantasy Adventure Tall Tales, and I am the creator of Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, a medieval fantasy drama that you can read online at eagleworks.com, EGOWORKS. Would help if I could spell right now.
There you go. And here's my second favorite co-host. What's up, Tom?
So, okay, I'm just going to leave that where it is. That's fine. we won't go deeper into that hole.
Yeah, there's no need to. I've already dug it, so you know.
I'm Tom Hutchison. I'm the primary writer, publisher, art director, all things at Big Dog Inc. We're wrapping up 15 years of the company this year, and in January we start the celebration of the 15-year anniversary of The Legend of Oz: The Wicked West.
All right, cool. And our first guest.
Hello, everybody. I am Skynex. You can also call me Zakkery. I am an independent comic artist, currently running a Kickstarter campaign for my comic, The Backwards House, and also a YouTuber as well as my main profession.
It's hard to have a bad mood with that on the screen.
Do you like it? I don't have a camera like you guys, so I brought my VTuber model.
Oh, no, that's cool. But she's right though. It's gonna be tough to get into any type of real arguments out here with that on there. Cool. How you doing, Dennis?
I'm good. Thank you. I take it that introductions are in order here, yes?
Yes. Thank you.
Well, I am Dennis Mallonee, the president and actually principal writer for Heroic Publishing. We do Flair, League of Champions, Liberty Girl, Witch Girls Incorporated, a few other titles that my vice president complains about having too many of. So anyway, we do have a Kickstarter going right now for our latest issue of League of Champions, which I actually have a copy of, an advanced copy, which is right here. It's yeah. Nice. It reached its goal, and we're looking for more support. I think it's got maybe a couple of days to go. It's almost over, so any help would be great.
All right, cool. Just out of curiosity, I got a question for you real quick. How long have you been in publishing?
How long have I been in publishing?
Yeah,
let's see. 1981 to 2025 would be 44 years.
Gotcha. All right, because I started, like as Daphne said, we started in 92, and we're like, we're usually the ones that are like, the old dogs in the room, but you got us beat.
Hey, old dogs don't hunt, they say.
Well, Thane.
Hi, everyone. My name is Thane Benson. I'm an independent comic book creator. I'm currently running a Kickstarter for a book called Hellhole. There's a copy of it. This is like a graphic novella. This is like volume 3 in a quarterly series. So that is currently on Kickstarter right now.
All right, cool. Joey.
Hey.
Glad you made it back. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Joey Croner. I run the Dyson Comics Cafe in Seoul, South Korea, and I also run TDL Studios, a publisher we made this year. And we're running Hotel Bethesda on Kickstarter. And it's just got a few days left, too. All
right, cool. All right, so some of you are new. Some of you have been here before. Actually, 4 of you have been here. 3 of you are new. So the way it works is we just ask questions. But at the second half of the show, we'll be going over everybody's Kickstarters. So let's start off with the questions, right? And I got a show question. Very simple one. Thanksgiving is just passed. So what do you have to be thankful for in indie comics, right? Because I don't know how long I've been in it for a minute. Dennis, you've been in it for a minute. Thane, I know you've been in it. Tom, a lot of us have been in it for a while. So, but Joey, you're in the hot seat. So
All right. Well, I'm new to publishing, really, but I've been selling comics for quite a while. And I think in indie comics, the thing we have to be thankful for is pretty much all the really interesting stuff that's going on is in indie comics. Whenever people are complaining about the state of the comic industry, they're usually not talking about independent stuff.
All right, cool. And just to answer that question, you are hearing a bird. That's Daphne's office.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting to like give the warning. So yes, I have a pain in the ass parrot that's right here that always starts acting up when I go live. So if you hear any strange noises in the background, that's him. If it's bothersome if it's too bothersome, I'll just mute myself so he doesn't bother anybody else. But
does it bother your bird if you put a sheet over his cage?
Oh, it doesn't make a difference. That makes it worse, actually.
Okay, it doesn't work
because he loves privacy.
Ah.
Yeah. All right. So, Zakkery, what are your thoughts on the question?
Thankful for indie comics. I think I'm pretty thankful for the culture around crowdfunding for indie comics, I'm going to be honest, because I think it just makes it a lot more practical for anyone to kind of jump into it and make something really cool if they can get that funding for it.
All right, cool. Dennis, what are your thoughts?
I pretty much echo what was just said. I am glad that we're at a stage where you don't have to rely on stupid ass distributors to get the book out to stores. You can go direct to fans through crowdfunding, which is wonderful. It certainly has changed our business model. I think for the better.
All right, cool. Thane, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this is basically what Dennis just said, but I'm very grateful that there's an audience out there that supports independent comics and independent artists, and that they're willing to invest their money in individuals who are trying to do interesting and different things outside of
All right, cool. Tom.
I'm primarily really thankful just for the fans that have, sort of latched on to what we do at Big Dog Inc. now for 15 years. Pretty crazy to think about where I was 15 years ago trying to make comics and get into the business and get into the industry and get into Diamond and pitching to publishers and all that kind of nonsense. And now here we are 15 years later, and we've been in the Diamond Top 300 multiple times. We work with some of the best in the business. It's crazy to think where we are, and that's all because of the people that decided that we should be here. Because without them, no one's comics exist. We all have to rely on the fans and the collectors and everything to be like, yes, I want that book. I want to put it in my collection. So, I'm really thankful for the fans that have stuck with us through all of the bizarre roller coasters of Big Dog Inc. And especially this year with just such a weird 15-year anniversary that we had with my mom passing, and just cons here and stopping cons and moving campaigns and just having to reshift everything. Everyone was like, we get it, just tell us when you're ready and we'll be here when you're ready to go. And so yeah, I really appreciate all of that that following and that understanding. And yeah,
cool. Daphne?
I'm just thankful that I have an outlet for my late onset autistic hyperfixation. Kickstarter especially makes it very easy for me to function creatively by having an outlet. And I guess, like, to echo what Tom said, is realizing that even though I say that I do this for myself, that I'm really thankful for the people who have supported me since I started like really doing this on my own on Kickstarter in 2021. And yeah, and it's like, and that's something that I want to continue to cultivate. So yeah, so I'm just happy to be here.
Cool. What's funny is the thing I'm most grateful for is the associations I've made in indie comics, because I think all of the long-standing relationships and friendships that I've had or have were made through comic books. You know, Daphne, I met through doing comic books, and we've been together 30 plus years.
Don't say it out loud.
I know.
Don't say the numbers out loud.
But you know, in a lot of my other friendships, and it's like even you guys, like I like, you know, Zakkery, Dennis, Joey, you guys are new. Thane, you know, I've spoken to you for a little bit. You know, Tom and I hang out all the time on these things, and I mean, you know, without Indy Comics, this wouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? Making these connections, I think, is really important. You know, like I said, I have dozens of friends that I've made doing this. You know, so yeah, for me, that's what it is, you know. But real quick, James Burton asks a question: what or where would you be without crowdfunding? I'll go first. I can't speak for anybody else. I'd be screwed. But I think that's what it'd be, or at least I'd be stuck doing more conventions again. So just to get the books out there. But I don't know if anybody else wants to answer that.
I know that what crowdfunding really did was it helped me focus what I'm doing, because it gave me like a very specific target, where in the past, like San Diego Comic-Con served that purpose.
Mm-hmm.
That it's like that we had to have everything that we were doing done for San Diego Comic-Con, no matter what we were doing. And then once we stopped going to that show regularly, we didn't have anything else that took its place until Kickstarter. And now it's like, oh, are you saying that I could like finish my book and then like sell it directly to people on my own without having to go outside? You know? So if it wasn't for Kickstarter, I don't think I would be as far ahead on my book as I am. Only because I wouldn't have had the focus on anything.
All right. Cool. Anybody else?
What was the question? I'm sorry, I was a bit distracted.
Oh, no. What or where would you be without crowdfunding?
Well, I can answer that. No, we certainly would not be publishing anything at this point. Crowdfunding actually enabled us to get back. And I learned some valuable lessons in the first couple of years we were doing it. One of which was not to do it until it was actually ready to be done, right? To address the point that you just made, right? There's some discipline in there that it took me a little bit to learn. Now I'm on every 21 days schedule. We offer something new. And in fact, in addition to that League of Champions book, which is currently being kickstarted, I brought some other things. I mean, if people are curious, we did a new issue of Alter Ego with Roy Thomas and Ron Harris. And we did a new issue of Champions. There's a story behind that, of course, having to do with Marvel. Tales of the Heroic Spotlight, starring Giant, which is the next one that's going to be coming up. That's an advanced copy of that. And we did a Fantastic Girl collection, all of her published adventures in a single volume. So it is, I wouldn't say a godsend, but Kickstarter existing has certainly made it possible for me to do the things I want to do the things that the people I work with want to do. So we wouldn't be doing it if it weren't for crowdfunding.
All right, cool. Thane, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah. I was just going to say, like, before crowdfunding was a thing, I can tell you exactly what I was doing, which was like putting together pitch proposals and doing like a couple pages of a comic and sending it around to publishers and collecting rejection letters. Like that was my creative output before Kickstarter. And I remember very clearly, like, commiserate and doing webcomics, because that was the thing. Like, you could get some stuff out there with webcomics. And kind of just doing that and trying to get attention and trying to get publishers' eyes. And then like another like webcomic person I was friendly with was like, oh, you don't need a publisher. Like, just do Kickstarter. I was like, what's that? And this was like when Kickstarter was new. And yeah, it changed everything for me, because all of a sudden, I mean, self-publishing was a thing before Kickstarter, but like using other people's money to self-publish was not really a thing before Kickstarter. So it very much like changed the game for self-publishing. You get, you didn't have to just put all your own money into it. So yeah, crowdfunding changed everything for me.
All right, cool. Joey, you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I would probably just be selling other people's comics.
Gotcha. All right, that's cool. Zakkery, any thoughts?
I mean, I'm very new to crowdfunding, so honestly, like the campaign I'm running is the first campaign I've ever done, so I wouldn't really be anywhere different, I don't think.
Okay,
Look on the website. There's a link there.
that's fair. Tom, what are you thinking?
So it's really interesting. I don't really think anyone can answer that because of the disruption that's happened in the past handful of years with distribution. Like if I had, my journey was really strange, is it was like I did it myself for 4 years. We were moderately successful doing that. Then we were published by Aspen for 3 years. We were moderately successful doing that. And then when we skipped out of Aspen, I had a choice. It was either go back into the standard system where we again had been moderately successful, or we tried this Kickstarter thing, which had been around at that point for about 5 or 6 years. And so we went into Kickstarter and purposefully left that sort of diamond retail market behind, because what I saw was that crowdfunding basically, not that we ever ran into gates, because we were pretty much accepted, as we sort of presented ourselves to Diamond and whoever. They were like, yes, we like what you have, like, let's go. But there is a gatekeeping aspect to the general distribution method where the distributors can decide whether they want to carry you or not. And then there's another gatekeeping method where the retailers can decide whether they will carry you or not. So there's multiple chains in this, multiple links in this chain to get to a consumer. Whereas with Kickstarter, they're just like, here, put your thing out, go direct to your customers, go direct to customers that you may not even know that you have, because there's people that come to Kickstarter just to see what's new. So Kickstarter broke down the gates of the ability to get in front of people's eyes. And then in the meantime, as all of that was kind of thriving, Diamond was on its way back down. So the people that were in the Diamond method were struggling, while the people in the Kickstarter method were kind of coming up. And the people that were coming up through Kickstarter were then taking their books over to Diamond, which then collapsed. So it's this really weird, just true roller coaster of everything. So I don't know where we would be without it, because without it, I would have just gone back into Diamond. We would have just been Big Dog Inc. and Diamond again. And who knows what that result would have been. I have no clue, but I will tell you that we've been doing Kickstarter for 10 years now, roughly. And it has changed the way that we do business across the board. We haven't been back into comic book stores. We haven't even tried to go back into any distribution. So everything that we've done has been from us to you, and it's worked. So yeah.
All right.
Let me just add something here. I put my economist hat on for a moment, although I don't actually have one. I have a degree in economics from Caltech, right? That's my first love, is economics, accounting, and all that kind of stuff. Diamond's business model was doomed to fail. I saw it when they first started up. I went in for a little while, because it would take time for it to fail. But we left Diamond 20 years ago, probably a little too soon. But their business model could not work over the long term. It was just not possible. And that's all I have to say about that.
Cool. Daphne,
Yeah.
you're up. What's your question?
We've seen people, well, you've done this show long enough to have so many people come in and out. And usually the questions center on the same thing. It's like, oh, it's so tough out there. How do we succeed more? And blah, blah, blah. It's like, how to, get more eyes on our stuff and everything. And my question, after kind of like really thinking about it, are we really having a hard time with our books on crowdfunding and just indie comics in general? Or are our expectations higher than the reality of what our books are?
That's fair. Okay.
I don't understand the question. honestly.
Are we? It's like, are we actually failing, or do we just expect way too much from the books that we're offering?
Are you an optimist or a pessimist?
I'm kind of like the glass is over there, and I don't want to get up and get it type of person.
There you go. Well, we'll go back in order, and Zakkery, you're up. So
I think this is another question. It's hard for me to answer because I'm so new to this. Like, what kind of things do you expect from Kickstarter? I went into it with just no expectations. I had no idea, like, just how much funding would be gotten at all. So I think my mindset was, if I went in with no expectations, then I won't be disappointed if it like fails.
Okay, that's fair.
That's a way around it, yeah.
Dennis, what are your thoughts?
Well, it depends on what you're putting out there. If you have something that actually attracts attention, you're going to get a chunk of change. I mean, we had one of the things we did a couple of years ago actually pulled in some $29,000 worth of stuff, but that was way above the normal. And I don't expect to get anything more than 1,500 with any particular project. So it gets back to the optimist pessimist question, right? If your expectations are too high, as you suggested, you're going to be disappointed. If your expectations are low, you're going to be pleasantly surprised if you do get something big. So that's why I said I didn't actually understand the question. It really depends on what your perspective is going into it.
All right, that's cool. Thane, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I've done a lot of Kickstarters. I've never had like a gigantic Kickstarter. I think the most I've ever made is maybe like $12,000 on a campaign, something like that. But I've done a lot of them, and they've all like made money versus the money I had to put in to produce the work. So I get asked a lot about Kickstarter, and my advice to people is always the same. I was like, have low expectations. Like, what's really the minimum you need to make this a reality, and go for that, and then be surprised if you get more. Because it's real easy to look at someone and be like, oh, they're making $100,000. Like, I'm going to make half that, and I'll get 50,000. You know what I mean? I think that's like a dangerous attitude to have. And I don't know. I just think like slow and steady. You just kind of keep doing it, and I think you have to scale your projects to be realistic, so they are doable at whatever budget you're able to come up with. Because Kickstarter is also a little fickle, right? Like my money for Kickstarter went way up during the pandemic. I was like, this is the best. I'm a super professional now, and then it started going down after that peak. And I talked to a lot of people. So like, yeah, and you get into that. But that's when you do, stay at it. Yeah, it's just like that demographic.
Your microphone is failing.
Yeah, your microphone. There's something funny going on with your mic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's caught in your
covered?
sweater.
Yeah.
It sounds like.
No, it's just the computer, but I'll turn it on and off. Maybe I'll do something.
Okay.
Okay.
Any better?
Yeah. Now you sound normal.
Okay. I'll mute it when I'm not talking. I'm done.
All right. Joey, what are your thoughts?
Well, part of why I use Kickstarter for this project, and I've also used other crowdfunding platforms here in Korea and as well. And part of it, when I used it, was as a metric to see how much, people actually wanted the thing that I was offering. So my expectations were not anywhere specific. So I feel like whatever I'm offering, I'm finding out through Kickstarter sometimes how much people actually want it, and then that'll let me know if I want to continue doing the same thing that I'm doing right now, or if I want to do a different project or something like that. So this one is the first one we've done for the TDL Studios things. So we're kind of finding out now, at least in the American market, what the demand is and what our expectations are for that kind of thing. And we'll do other Kickstarters here in Korea. Well, it's there's two platforms, What Is and Tumblebug, and I've done stuff with them before, and it's just it's a different market. So we'll do this one again early next year, and but we'll probably do a Korean localization of it.
So how different are the platforms and markets for, like, obviously you got to experience Kickstarter, so like how different are those platforms?
I think Kickstarter is a lot more user friendly for running a campaign, and some of the Korean ones, since it is directed, there's a lot of other bigger companies doing things that they usually have someone that's just doing that part of the job full time. So it did take a little bit of working out to figure out the interface. Other than the whole interface being in Korean, it was hard to figure out sometimes how to get things up. With the Korean crowdfundings, if you don't have a bunch of little extras and knickknacks that you throw in, like if I just do the comic by itself and there's variants of the comic, if I don't have stuff like postcards, keychains, stickers, little miniatures or something like that, it's a little harder to push it. People like the extras. Yeah.
That's interesting. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Right. Tom, what are your thoughts?
So I think those of us that were running Kickstarter sort of in 2018, 19, 20, and then we kind of saw that big leap 2021 and a little bit of 22, and then it kind of started to fall off. I think a lot of us kind of have this comparison, not even to other people, but to ourselves, because we saw where we were over this period of time where it was all going upwards, and then it all kind of started to fall back down. But this is where it's a combination of Daphne's question and just sort of economics, because in 2020 and 21 everybody was sitting at home doing nothing. They could be on the internet all the time. They got their bonus money from the government. They were like, oh, I got a few grand, I can go throw it on comics. Everything kind of changed in that realm. There's the talk about Amazon going from $1 billion company to an $8 billion company over a couple of years, because people were spending money on that stuff. So it was a weird sort of golden age of crowdfunding at that time. And that bubble, sort of like the 90s comics, kind of popped. It could be for any number of reasons, not the least of which is just economic. But the other side of it could simply be people were trying out a lot of these books and they just weren't very good to the consumer. And those people that were buying those books didn't come back, or came back less and less and less. And you have to be able to replace those people. Every time someone leaves, you got to at least bring one back in. That's hard to do. But there is the idea of what is our expectation of what we're doing. And I don't think low expectations is the right idea. I don't think that's the right thought process, because then we just sort of click, push, go, and then we walk away. That's like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's going to do what it's going to do. I push go. I'm going to leave now. So I think you need to have some, let's not call it an expectation, but let's say you need to have some sort of internal goal. Like, okay, yes, my goal is $3,000, but I want to make $5,000. It doesn't mean you have to make 10, 20, 30, but like, we need 3, let's make 5. Because then that puts a little extra drive in you to do shows like this, to be a little more, out in the social media world, maybe at cons a little bit more while you're running your campaign to get more people involved. So I think that we had some weird built up expectations because of the top of the roller coaster. But as it came back down for everybody. Don't think that it's like it's just you. You can look some of the top people in this business and they're coming down too. They're still way above us, but you can still watch and track, like, well, they used to do $100,000, now they're doing 80. That sounds crazy that's like a bad thing. But like, to them, they're probably like, shit, I'm down $20,000. Like what's going on? So they're having the same sort of internal discussions that we have, just on a lower level. So I think it's a lot of things. I think there is expectation. I think there is comparison. I think a lot of creators sort of look at the market and be like, well, why is that guy doing what he's doing and I can't do it? And there could be a lot of reasons for it. I mean, the list is endless, but a lot of it is just sort of fan sort of control. Let's call it that. Like they have access to their fans. They are enticing to their fans for however it is that they're doing it. And those fans are reacting to whatever social media posts or convention appearances or whatever it is. The fans react to that and they go running for it. Whereas if you come in again with like low expectations, well, I'm just going to push go and we'll make what we make. There's no immediacy to your fan base. There's no like, oh, I got to get in there and get that book because I only got 3 weeks and then it's gone. So you got to find that sort of middle ground of like, yes, we kind of probably know where we're going to land, but we still want to try and push it to get a little bit more each time, if possible, even if a little more means like an extra 10 backers. If you can pick up 10 backers every time you do a campaign, by the time you do, 20 campaigns, boom, you're on the road.
Yeah.
That's fair. I have to be honest with you, Tom. I feel a little attacked. Just saying, just hit the button and go. I just feel a little attacked.
JD Calderon method.
Listen, it works. But to answer Daphne's question is, like I know how much I need to keep it running, right? Because I don't live off of this. I have a day job, but but I use the funds to pay the artists, right? So I just need enough to make enough there. And fortunately, I've kind of hit that area where I'm okay. More is always better. More is always more welcome because that just means me hiring more artists and getting more work done faster. But yeah, I think for myself, I've never really expected super duper results, right? But always wanted them, right? Like who doesn't want that? But but it's like, you have to settle where you settle. And the thing is, we know Daphne, people like Tom, Jay, everybody who's ever been on the show, we've broken down Kickstarter, and we know the type of book that I do, the Oswald Chronicles, which is, most people look at, more cartoony, a little bit more, something like this. They don't tend to do that well, right? Unless, of course, you already have a prior situation where you're bringing in a lot of fans, right? So unless you're Stan Sakai and you're coming in with Usagi or Jimbo, you're probably not going to make a boatload of money, right? If you're just starting fresh like myself and nobody knows me from any place else, then, we have an issue. And, you get to where you get to, you keep pushing. There's a glass ceiling, but you got to keep trying to push through it. And that's what I've been at. So Magi's Grace, which is a campaign I'm running currently, does a little bit better, but that's because I do multiple covers. I do sexy covers. I do NSFW covers. So it does a little bit better. But again, still got to work it, still got to promote it, still got to push it. But it does do a little bit better, which is, something. So
let me suggest here, you guys might want to think about this. We're actually working on building up a forum where fans can come and talk and chat with each other. It'll be moderated because forums have their downside,
right.
But getting that fan interaction, the interest in the fans is the key to this. As you said, right? If you get 10 more fans with each Kickstarter, pretty soon you're up there, where you maybe actually want to be. But the trick is to get the fans involved, and if you guys have the knowledge, the wherewithal to do it, you might want to think about creating a forum where your fans can talk to each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's one more thing on the list. You know how it is. Just one more thing on the list.
Always one more thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Daphne. So answer your own question.
Well, it's, you see, the thing is that, like I agree with Tom in that it is important to have an expectation, even if it's a slightly higher one, so that, you're not just pressing go and at least like you're trying something extra in order to push attention onto your book. But the thing that I'm actually referencing is what I like to call, like, you're doing an indie comic, but you're expecting mainstream results. And, and I'm talking about like, and I've seen this a little too many times, which is why I ask about this is that we have people who are doing like quirky niche type of books, books that like to an outsider, like, yeah, you like nobody creates a comic and says, oh yeah, I couldn't hang with Marvel and DC stuff. Everybody does their book and says, oh yeah, you could put my book next to Marvel and DC type of thing, right? But that's kind of not the case. And I kind of think that there's people who it's like they just think that their books should be making 10 grand just because, like, for reasons.
Well, those are just egomaniacs. What you're talking about.
But but the thing is though, it's like I think what it is that they get caught up in the idea that it's like, oh, it's all about marketing harder and all I need to do is market harder without really considering that it's like, who is actually the audience for your book? And maybe your audience for, especially if you're doing more like niche type books, that your audience is not as big as you think it is. And I think that what that does is that, like, there's a difference in having a realistic, like having an expectation and then just having unrealistic expectations. And then every decision you make is based on those unrealistic expectations. And that could like hold you back just as much as just having no expectations.
Sure. No, I totally agree with that. There's definitely people that I know that are like, they'll make a book and they'll be like, I can write better than anything at Marvel Comics or, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Listen, that there's a reason you're not there.
Right.
I mean, that's the reality. There's a reason you're not there, whether it's your talent or whether it's you, there's a reason you're not there. So yeah, that kind of stuff definitely exists. I see that quite a bit. My superhero book will be better than anything, that Marvel or DC creates. And I'm like, or the next Image or whatever. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, that's not even rational.
Or they're doing a comic that looks closer to a zine than a Marvel comic, but they're still expecting, oh, this is totally going to make 10 grand on Kickstarter. When the numbers for Kickstarter is that you're 75% likely to just make either between $1,000 and $9,999. So, but everybody thinks they have the $10,000 book. And it's like, I don't know, like, I just kind of find like there just comes a point, like for me, after 11 issues, I'm pretty confident where my book stands in terms of crowdfunding. So there's no reason for me to think, oh, this is going to be the 10 grand. This is going to be it. It's like there's no reason for me to think that. So there just comes a point where it's like, there's no reason for that to be a goal. So I should like concentrate on other things related to the book as opposed to a goal that I know I'm not going to reach because after 11 issues, I've never done it. Why do I think that issue 12 is going to be different?
Sure, but you've got, that's there. So there's two elements to this one. There's that where you've been doing it for a while and you just know where you sit. This is where it is. This is what it's going to be. And then you got the guys that are just coming in and going, I have the hot thing. This is better than Spawn. I'm going to make 100 grand. No, you're not.
Right.
And that's a combination of delusion and just clearly and obviously not an understanding of the platform, how it works, what new creators do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Not to say that you can't find lightning in a bottle. That can happen, but the likelihood of it is very low.
Right.
Yeah, but does that also mean that, I understand what you're saying, but, just to be a little contrarian, does that mean one should just give up on their hopes, right? I mean, because the thing is it a matter of, did you hit your level, or is it a matter of you didn't hustle hard enough, right? Because you did say that, I just need to what is it?
Market harder,
right? But how hard have you marketed, right? And are you on a backward slide? And what house are you in now? Zakkery, let's talk about your campaign.
Oh, okay, I'm up.
All right.
I give that segue a 4.
Hey, I was trying. Maybe a little too hard. Do you want me to play this video?
You can, sure.
Katie, listen to me. The only way to escape the backwards house is to go through the...
No! Curious Cat! Did you hear? The Backwards House Kickstarter is live! What? It's live! That means for a limited time only, you can help fund the Backwards House comic, while also getting your hands on some sweet backer rewards in the process.
Oh, my leg!
Is he gonna be all right?
What kind of rewards, you ask? Well, we've got all sorts of things. There are digital wallpapers, behind-the-scenes content, an exclusive Discord server, signed copies of the comic, a collector's version with 20 extra pages, keychains, stickers, and even a plushie of none other than yours truly.
Wait, why don't I get a plushie?
Because I'm more marketable! There's even a reward tier that will get your own original characters added into the comic.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Oh, my head, it just landed on my... Not again!
Are you children talking about the Kickstarter?
That we are, Mother.
I thought Mother couldn't enter our rooms.
Oh, don't worry about that.
This isn't canon.
You silly children have forgotten to mention why we are hosting a Kickstarter. It's because we need money to pay all the artists, voice actors, and editors who work on the comic. Releasing a full chapter every 2 weeks isn't an easy task, and it requires a lot of money to make it happen.
That's right. So all of you should go and check out the Kickstarter right now. And maybe read the comic if you haven't already.
Someone call a doctor.
Yeah, that was my silly Kickstarter video.
Well done,
Hopefully meant
sir.
to be
Well
very
done.
entertaining and comedic to keep people interested.
All right. So Zakkery, what are we looking at? Walk us through it.
Okay, so this is my first comic Kickstarter. This is a Kickstarter to raise funds for my indie comic called The Backwards House. We've released 2 chapters, a short animation, obviously that little Kickstarter trailer, and a comic dub for it. And the Kickstarter's job is to raise funds to essentially just make more chapters. Because I do work, as you're scrolling there, I do work with a lot of other artists and voice actors who are all paid on this. And I was for the first 2 chapters and all that's been made so far, I've just been paying people completely out of pocket. And obviously I can't do that forever. So we're like, okay, we'll use a Kickstarter to raise funds so I can keep paying everyone who works on this comic with me.
All right, cool. Now, is this just on your website at the moment, or is it, do you have it on a platform like Webtoons?
So it is on Global Comics. If you scroll up to the top of the Kickstarter, there is a link to it. There's those 3 TV icons at the very top. Each of those links. So the first one links to the comic. The second one links to the comic dub, and the third one links to the animation. But currently, the webcomic is on a platform called Global Comics, and I think it's currently at 700,000 views. So it's doing very well on Global Comics, the webcomic platform.
Very nice. How long have you had it on there?
Just since the Kickstarter came out, so 2 weeks-ish.
Okay. Now, how did you manage to get the word out? Because obviously you're doing well. So how are you getting the word out? Are you on Facebook, Twitter?
Mainly YouTube, because I am a professional YouTuber. My entire job is essentially just getting as many views as possible on anything I do. So I had a very big audience before I started this. And we had quite the big marketing scheme to get as many kind of views on this as possible. So we had obviously the animation, which was this like fully animated ARG horror thing that people could watch. We had a 12-minute long comic dub of the first chapter that people could watch. I think that's garnered it's nearly up to 300,000 views on YouTube. So a lot of people have seen that. That's kind of the main starting point for people watch that and then they go to the Kickstarter. And obviously also the webcomic itself is kind of marketing because it just garners views on its own. And Global Comics, I chose that platform to put my comic on because it actually has an inbuilt feature which will tell someone reading the comic that the comic is live on Kickstarter. So anyone who reads that comic on Global Comics, there's like a little icon at the top says this comic is crowdfunding now, so they can go and just go straight to the Kickstarter after reading it.
All right, cool. I mean, listen, it looks like a great book. Looks like a lot of fun. I mean, your videos hilarious.
Thank you.
You know, you got 15 days ago. You're at 41. You were at 41,000. So you got 360 backers. So I think you're okay.
Yes, we've definitely made much more than we need, so it's good.
You know, hopefully it'll keep going. You know, everybody jump in. It's it looks like an awesome book.
Thank you.
It was great. All right, now I'm gonna. Here we go. Dennis, do you want me to play this video?
You can start it. We basically, since the book is already in, we have some advanced copies. We did a flip throughs, basically showing people what the what's in the book. So yeah, you can go ahead and start it, and you can stop it at some point if you want, because it's actually pretty long. But
hello, I'm David Berg, Vice President at Heroic Publishing, and we're offering League of Champions number 19. This is a big one. 48 pages by Dennis Mallonee and Henry Martinez. It picks up right where number 18 leaves off. In fact, we've had a continuous flow in story, starting with League of Champions 13, 14, 15, 16, the Lords of Chaos storyline, to the Reiki Warriors crossover in League of Champions 17, over to Murcielaca Shebet 18, back to League of Champions 18, and this begins minutes later with as much tie-in to Heroic Universe history as we've ever had. It also kicks off our new Rods of Fairy storyline, but I'll get into that because I'm going to flip through this with you. Spoilers. League of Champions number 19. Here we go. This symbolic, not quite literal cover with Flair
I'd go
in
through
the
maybe 10
Flying
or 12
Fox's
pages,
car
give people an idea of
calls
what we're
back
doing
to
here,
Champions
and then cut
number
it off.
14, the one with Foxbat on the cover, Bruce Harlick's character. By the way, terminology. We use the Flying Fox now, a slightly different character. In comic book logic, it was always the Flying Fox. So I will try to use the current name for Flying Fox.
We'll let it go there because it's 22 minutes.
Yeah, it's long.
Yeah. So all right. Well, talk to me. What are we looking at?
We're looking at our latest Kickstarter here. This is League of Champions. It's our team book. It's what was always Champions. The Champions book was originally envisioned, as I've said many times before, as not a team book, but as a book where we showcase the individual members of the League of Champions. We're giving people some pages from the, that's it. Scroll down. We're giving people some pages from the book so they can see what the story is about without having to look at. We got a preview of next issue. That's the cover for the next issue. We're just, keep scrolling. And then we, go over a variant cover that's available. And then we start telling people, what they can get, as add-ons for the book. And I don't have an animation thing. That was so cool. But we're trying to be pretty straightforward. Just telling people what we're offering, what they can get, and encouraging them to throw some money at the project because we can really use their support. It's pretty straightforward. Nothing complicated at all. We have a few things like refrigerator magnets, hats, and some cover previews, and that's basically it.
All right, cool. I mean, listen, here's the thing that it's like I have, all right, where is it? Like here it is. This original 6-issue run from Eclipse.
Yeah.
I bought these off the rack when I was a kid. I have these. These are great. So
thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just happy that you guys are still doing this.
Yeah, after all these years, good God.
Right. I'm just
with a few breaks. I mean, it hasn't been constant. It's been somewhat sporadic, but I love comics, and it's always good to get back to it, even if for one reason or another I have to take a hiatus.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now-
Those are the second editions, because we're running low on some of those original books. We still have some of them. We don't have a lot of them. I
Mhm.
decided to do a second printing under the Heroic Publishing imprint. So those second editions are also available. And then we're going into the second Champion series, the one that we did on our own imprint, issues 1 through 12, back in 87 and 88.
Cool.
So
now, are these available on your website?
they are. All of the back issues that we still have in stock are available not only on the website, they're also all on eBay.
Mhm.
So, people can grab them in either place.
All right, cool. Now, what got you? Because obviously, you were doing this back in the '80s. So, I mean, what got you interested in doing, let's say, an alternative superhero comic line, as opposed to, obviously, we have Marvel and DC, but what got you interested in doing that type of line?
Well, I'd been doing a little bit of work for Marvel and DC with Marvel and DC. I'm not going to say for them, but as I said, I love comics, and I just want to do my own. There were too many editorial restrictions, problems in dealing with some of the people at Marvel. Most of them are great, but there were always a few jerks in every organization.
Right.
So when the opportunity arose, again, this is a story that's been told many times. I was at the San Diego convention at a Champions role-playing game panel, and somebody in the audience asked, "When are you going to do a book based on the role-playing game?" And I said, "I'll do it." And that's how it got started.
Right.
Kind of on a whim, just to do something that I'd always wanted to do.
All right, cool. Are you guys still producing the role-playing game?
We don't produce the role-playing game. That's done by Hero Games. We license some of the characters from their creators as a tie-in to the game, but the tie-in didn't really work very well. So we don't really have much connection with Hero Games anymore, although we're also doing some role-playing game stuff again. And we're making that available to Hero Games, and they do have that on their website. There's a League of Champions source book, there's a League of Enemies source book, and there's Uber Machine campaign source book currently available from on eBay and from Hero Games and from Tiger Paw Press, which is the company we're working with to produce those role-playing game supplements. Our website crashed a few days ago, and I don't have them back on the website yet, but those role-playing game books will be available once again on the website shortly.
Okay, cool. I mean, listen, man, like I said, I bought those books when I was a kid. I'd love to get back into this. So, this is really cool. I mean,
Well, we've been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
You should, I should send you a few.
Oh, listen, like my wife called me a degenerate. There's a reason. It's because I buy a lot of comics. I mean, a lot of comics. Oh, here's another question for you. Do you ever plan on doing like either an omnibus or compendium?
We have trade paperbacks. We also did some archive editions in conjunction with Critical Blast Publishing. There's a Flair archive that collects the first 10 issues. Those were the supersized 52-page books. There's a second Flair archive that collects all of the material that was originally published in black and white during the black and white boom that we put color into, and we released that in color. That second Flair archive is the black and white books, but all in color now. There's also a Flair Every Sunday archive. We actually did 75 weeks of Sunday Flair comic strip for Creators Syndicate that unfortunately didn't actually penetrate the market very well. ANSI. Oh, thank you. My vice president just delivered copies of a couple of archives to me. This is the first Flair. Oh, you can't really see it. Well, once we get back to the full screen, I'll show it to you. We did a for Roy that collects every published appearance of Captain Thunder and Blue Bolt. Oh, here we go. Here's the Flair archive. That's volume 1. Her first 10 issues. There they are. Big book, right? Yeah. The Captain Thunder archive also is a big book. It's every appearance of Roy and Dan Thomas's Captain Thunder and Blue Bolt. That's available. We did a Murcielaga Shebat archive with Derek Gross's character, Reiki Warriors. And there are more in the works. That Fantastic Girl paperback that I showed you earlier is also available in a hardcover edition from Critical Blast. So yeah, we're touching all the bases on as far as format goes. There are also digest editions of all of those. Critical Blast does the hardbound, they do the paperbound, and they do a digest A4 size. Anyway, it's smaller than the others. So whatever format you like, you can get with those.
All right, cool. Well, I mean, you got another 66 hours, so time is short, everybody. So jump in.
Please,
yeah.
we could use your help.
So jump in where you can. All right.
This is also guidance for us, as was someone else earlier suggested. The reaction we get on any particular book tells us things.
Right.
It provides information. The rewards that get selected provide us with information. And we're working on getting more merch up there, but that's a process, unfortunately. And I don't have 72 hours in a day. It's limited bandwidth.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know the feeling. All right, cool. So everybody, great looking stuff. I mean, it's a great book. Been around a long time. Very nice.
Thank you.
I think. Yes. Here we go. Thane, do you want me to play this video?
Yeah, you can go ahead and play it. Sure.
Very nice. All right. So Thane, walk us through it. What we got?
Yeah, so Hell Quarterly, it's a quarterly comic book series. It's 4 issues is going to do the whole thing. This is issue number 3. I'm calling them graphic novellas because they're black and white and they're 48 pages, so it's a good chunk of comic. But it's basically kind of like a film noir sort of detective story, except it's set in hell, so all the characters are demons. You can see it's kind of cartoony, but it's also kind of dark and creepy, but also sort of funny. There's the first 2 issues there, and then number 3 is what we're kickstarting right now.
Nice.
So that's pretty much it. It's a return to so my very first graphic novel was called Burnt, which was a murder mystery that takes place in hell, and it was like a one and done kind of graphic novel. But people always ask me if I'd go back to something like that. So this is like a return to hell. It's the same hell as in Burnt, but it's all new characters and all new stories. So the setting's the same, but everything else is different.
All right, cool. Now, so this is the 3rd issue in a series, or is this the 3rd issue like one shots? How are you doing it?
Oh yeah, so it's a series. It's one story that's broken up into the 4 quarterly comics. So when the 4th one comes out, it'll complete the story. And I say quarterly because about every 3 months. That's about what I'm at for when these are coming out. The first 2 came out a little closer together, much less than 3 months apart. But by the time we finish all 4, it'll be close to a year. So the quarterly is about right for setting people's expectations for how quickly they come out.
All right, cool. Now I haven't checked. Oh, there it is. Oh, so you've created 33 campaigns. So you've been in it for a minute. So Thane, like, how have you seen Kickstarter from the beginning to now? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, as far as your stuff is going.
Yes. So at the beginning, it was much easier to go in being like a non-known person and still get a little traction, get something cool. But once as Kickstarter got more popular, it's much harder to stand out. If you've been in it for a while, you can usually like build up like a base of people who stick around for most of your stuff. And I'm lucky that I started early enough that I have a base of people that show up for it. But the people who do really well on Kickstarter. And you know, the first campaign we looked at by Zach was a great example. Is people who can bring an audience to Kickstarter. People who go down, people like me who went to Kickstarter to find an audience. It's a much harder row to hoe these days. But for me, it's sort of like sustaining my audience and like increasing my audience, right? Is what I'm going for. And yeah, and you know, and at the beginning when we were talking about what we were thankful for, I'm thankful for all those people who tried out Burnt for the very first time when no one had ever seen anything from me, but it still, you know, generated enough money on Kickstarter for me to finish it, and then the kind of, you know, keep that audience and slowly grow that audience has been great.
All right. Listen, man, I mean, dude, I remember I don't know if you remember, but the first time I met you was at a show somewhere. I don't know if it was Baltimore, Boston. And I remember picking up one of your books, and ever since then, I've been keeping an eye on you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
And it's, you know, I've always enjoyed your work. So, you know, I mean, awesome looking stuff. You got 172 backers, which is great. You're well above your goal. You got another 11 days. So hopefully, you know, everybody, like I said, another guy, jump on, man, because he's awesome looking stuff. Awesome, you know, great stories, the whole thing. So go check it out. All right. We got Hotel Bethesda. I like this. Do you want me to play this? Joey, you want to play
go
this
for it.
video? All right, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Very nice. All right.
All right. Oh, we're getting a buzz. Is that me?
No, that was the video.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I forgot. I tried to put a sound effect in there.
Sure.
I ended up doing the video editing on it, and I'm not that great at it. So Hotel Bethesda is a book. It's a supernatural horror series. We're crowdfunding the first 2 issues. We have for a writer, I have Impyo Jun. It's all a Korean creative team.
Mm-hmm.
And Impyo Jun wrote the Korean stories for Batman the World and Joker the World.
Nice.
And then we have Joanne Kim, who's a webtoon artist. She did the interiors for it and the main cover. And we also have as a collaborator a actor called Young Dong-gun or YDG. And part of the story also, it's a supernatural horror story, but it also kind of follows his experience growing up as a child actor, where he grew up performing and playing other people and then having an identity crisis in adulthood, realizing that he had developed no identity of his own. So, and there we have, I had variant cover artists for it. So we had Colleen Doran, who did a lot of work with Neil Gaiman, Sandman, Snow Glass Apples, and she just released the Good Omens adaptation of into comics. She actually just finished the inks on her cover this morning and sent them to me.
Oh,
so
cool.
That's a first reveal of the completed one, because when I got into the shop, she'd sent me the email, and I'll probably post that later on the Kickstarter. It took a long time to get it done because she was having other projects she was working on too.
Gotcha.
And then Toki Tokoto did a cover as well.
I gave you the full screen. I don't know if you want to show it again.
Oh yeah, you're gonna show it again. right here.
Oh, very nice. Yeah.
So yeah, and she's coloring it as we speak.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
Her stuff is gorgeous.
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
great.
Mm-hmm.
And
Does she
she's
still
a
wear her
wonderful
little
person.
trademark hat?
She wasn't wearing a hat the last time I saw her, but yeah. But that's the Toki Tokoro cover.
Nice.
Toki did Jeff the Land Shark recently and some covers for Marvel Rivals. Toki comes to my shop sometimes when she comes over from Japan to Korea, and we're friends. So I asked her to do one, and she was really happy to do it.
Cool. Looks really nice.
Yeah, and if anyone like Young Dong-gun's not really super famous outside of Korea. He was also one of the 20 years ago. He was one of the top hip hop performers as well. And the first movie I saw in Korean was Fighter in the Wind, which he was in 2002. Most recently, he was in Squid Game.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, what's funny is I've seen that movie.
Oh, you seen Fighter in the Wind?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while, but I have it in my collection somewhere. But yeah,
Right.
It's
He's
been a while.
basically Korean Conan living in Japan. So
nice.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So now you're the publisher?
Yeah, so I'm the publisher. I started the publishing company as an imprint tied to my shop at the beginning of the year.
Mhm.
And my partner in the company has worked in entertainment for a while. So we've been making agreements with Korean celebrities, K-pop groups, comedians, and like American comics and American style comics don't have a lot of presence in Korea.
Mhm.
So I'm the only comic shop in the whole country. So
Wow.
when I go to cons and such, they'll see like a single issue comic and they think it's a poster. So that's one of the reasons we're doing it in issues instead of just going straight to a trade or something, is that it's kind of a bit of a cross-cultural exchange where we're introducing some of this to the Korean market and the Korean community. And so, there's a lot of Korean creators that work in American comics, and if they do a show in Korea, people will see it and they'll think, oh, well, wow, that guy really likes drawing Spider-Man, and not realizing that, oh, well, that's In-hyuk Lee. He does covers for Spider-Man all the time. So where if he's in an American show, he'll have a line going out the door.
Right.
So that's a bit of what we're doing with that. We've got other things in the works. Later with Hotel Bethesda, we'll do 4 total issues, and then we're going to we're also working on, we've got 2 other projects in the works, with one with a comedian he's on the show, one of the big Korean kind of reality comedy shows, and then one with a K-pop group that a lot of the K-pop groups, they want to go from just having a concept for their group to having a universe around it. So the last couple of weeks, I've been watching a whole bunch of their music videos, which it's not really my thing, but it's research. But there's a lot of things in the videos that could be tied into stories, and because they already have some story, but kind of putting some meat in it to round it out I think it's going to be pretty fun.
That sounds cool. I mean, Kiss did it, right? And
Yeah, right. Yeah.
The Osbourne, they have their
a lot of what the K-pop groups want to do is they want to have something like that to take on tour with them.
Right.
And then even some of them I've talked to, they want to stop selling CDs. The only reason they still sell CDs is because it counts towards their charting. And they feel bad because people will go buy 150 CDs to get the cards in them, and then they throw all the CDs in the trash because they don't have a CD player.
Wow. Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right, cool. I mean, you got 56 more hours. You got 3,200. still got a 1800 go. You know, you
Yeah, I got a
get
bit to
your
go.
hustle. You
Yeah.
gotta get your
I have a
hustle
bit to
up.
go.
You know,
There have been some people that have been messaging me, waiting for me to show the full Colleen Doran cover. So
right.
hopefully that gives us a bit of a bump, and then we'll see what happens. Either way, we're gonna make it.
Yeah,
because
listen.
I've already put the money towards it, and we've already produced it.
But
And we've also got the Korean Kickstarter too. So,
but also it's a good looking book, and I mean, you know, it deserves, you know, success. I mean, you know, everybody go out, pick up a copy. It's a really good looking book. You know, it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, you know, if it's the Colleen Doran cover you need, it's there. Go get it.
right? Yeah. So,
you know, he just showed it to you. You know, good stuff. All right, cool. I'm gonna real quick pop up my campaign. This is Magi's Grace issue 3, 1 through 3 is available. This is something I'm doing with my partner C. Michael Lanning, and we have a bunch of different covers on here. This is C. Michael Lanning's. This is the A cover. This is his cover. Then we have Pablo Verdugo Munoz. This is his variant cover, and then we also have Lena Dye, which we get for every campaign on Magi's Grace. And, you know, people tend to like her stuff, so she does well for us. This is Elsie Freitas. We also get him on all of these campaigns as well. Christopher Awen, I met him online. He was, you know, he said he was looking for work, so I asked him to do a cover for me, so he did it for me. I think it looks, I mean, I love the little vampire guy. I mean, it's just hilarious. And then Capu Max Omega, another guy I met online who's looking for work. I said, all right, let's try him out. And that's just how I am. I find new artists. I'm like, you know, let me try him out for one cover. And then we just go from there. But the story is about two characters, Magi and Grace. And they're a monster fighting duo. Basically, you know, they're out there. And whenever you have a problem between the world of cryptids and the mystical, they deal with those issues, and that's what they're in for. So, and right now they're dealing with vampires invading Innsmouth. So it's vampires invading the fish people, and they're in there to try to break it up and try to bring order to the world. So there it is, Web Issue 3. So go check it out. All right. So back to our regular scheduling show shenanigans. Tom, you're up. Your question.
So my question is, Dennis, how does somebody pitch an icicle or tiger story to you?
Well, that's an interesting question because we don't have a lot of resources. But if you really want to do it, just drop me a note in the comments section of the website, or drop me an email, for God's sake.
For sure.
It's not that hard. I don't want to give the email address out right now, but
totally
we'll put it in the chat for you, okay?
Totally understand. Yes. Now, here's the real question. Real question is maybe a little depressing, guys, but it's something that's kind of popped up from time to time as we do these shows and talk about making comics and so on. And it's the thought of everybody. I always kind of tend to hear people talk about that they're making comics and they have this sort of like what Daphne was talking about, having these expectations of having some aspect of legacy for what they're creating beyond under the assumption like you pass, then what happens to your stuff. So I'm curious for everybody. We're all going to say that we're making this for ourselves because we want to make it, et cetera, et cetera. That's the easy side of this. But do you have any sort of internal thought process of when I'm gone, this project will still be talked about, / someone's going to pick up the reins and run with it, / the fans will still respond to it, even though I'm the creator and I'm not the one doing it anymore? Does that make sense? So what are your thoughts about what happens to your stuff when you're gone? And if it dies with you, is that an acceptable result to our artistic journey here?
Zach, I think we're up to you. Zach, I mean, not Zach, Thane, we're up to you, Thane.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question, and I have thought about that, like, as I continue to build stuff and as I continue to like build a back catalog library that basically is like is like how I make my living these days. I have thought, well, like what happens like when I'm not here? Like my kids want it? Do they even want this? Does it just die with me? Does it just go away? Is it really is it worth anything? Like could it continue to generate income for other people? But I haven't made any plans. I think as I get older, I'll probably put more thought into it. But if it goes away with me, that's okay too. Life is fleeting.
All right, cool. Joey, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think that all of us in some way everyone has had some way that they've impacted or tried to do something to make the world a little more bright. And then once we're gone, that's going to live on in one way or another. As far as comics, I think now's like a time where a lot of this stuff lasts a lot longer than it would have before, because one of the things I'm trying to do with the company is there's a lot of Korean manhwa creators from the 60s that are in their 90s, and a lot of their stuff is going out of print and it's disappearing because it was only ever in print. So I'm trying to get some of those things back into print, maybe translate some of them to English and introduce them to the American market so their legacies can live on. And I think now's kind of the time where a lot of the stuff that people create has a lot better chance of surviving past and being appreciated in future generations. So I feel good about it.
All right, cool. Dennis, what are your thoughts?
Well, as I recall, I just had somebody ask me about writing an icicle or a tiger story. So I'm not particularly worried that there won't be somebody out there who will want to pick up the reins, but I haven't given that much thought. It's difficult sometimes to accept the notion that your death is inevitable. It's going to happen. But I am 70 years old now, so and it's not as far off as it seemed when I was 30. And we have a corporate structure, so that corporate structure will conceivably, although I don't know this for sure since I won't be here, will survive me. So the properties are there and they can be used. So if somebody picks up the reins and runs with them, that's great. And if they don't, well, I'll never know about it. So.
All right, fair enough. Zakkery, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it seems to be a question about legacy, what's going to happen to your stuff after you die and all that. It's not something I don't think I've think about too much. I know there's this mangaka that made Berserk. Hopefully some of you guys have heard that, who it's like got hundreds of chapters out, and the creator of it's died, but the story's still going. Like, he's got his editors to keep creating it for him. And I don't know. I feel like if maybe I was making a story that was that long and I died before I got to finish it, I would want, I don't know, either my team or someone else to finish it for me, possibly. But that's something so far into the future that I wouldn't even think about it currently.
All right, cool. Daphne.
There was an episode. It's one of my favorite episodes that I did with Nita on the vlogs. And it was us discussing this article in the New York Times talking about Richard and Wendy Pini and their endowment to Columbia University, and how they were approached by the university to donate their artwork to them in archival situation. And also they gave money to the I think like $500,000 for the university for the sole purpose of preserving comic book art in general, and promoting comic book work. And what I learned from even just reading the comments of this New York Times article is that as much as we want to believe we're leaving a legacy, no, you're not. Most people, pretty much what I learned from the comments is that your legacy is in the bottom of a dumpster. So I figured I'd continue the depressing portion of your question. And this whole article really made me think about that idea that it's like, who am I kidding? It's like, in the end, I want to enjoy the work that I do while I'm alive to enjoy it. And if it goes with me, that's where it goes. Like I really don't have that much of an interest outside of that. It's like I'm not getting any deader type of thing. So I just came to the point where it's like, what? That's it. This is it. Whatever I do in this lifetime is what happens. If someone decides to pick it up afterwards, I'll be dead anyway, so I'm not going to know about it. So why care about it? And that's kind of in the end, kind of like it was a whole like memento mori bitches type of thing that I ended up just having, that it's like, you know what? I'm okay with that. That it's like I have no sense of legacy whatsoever. And that's just where it is. I'm literally doing this for myself, and we're burying it with the pharaohs. That's how I'm looking at it with my stuff.
Just like Marcus.
Yeah, just like Marcus.
Tom and I have been doing this for a while. I've answered this question for him before. So
has the answer changed?
No, it hasn't. Basically what it is, what I would like to do is what other creators have done in the past is, if possible, set up a system, have the work on places like Amazon and other places, where it could be POD printed, and people can just continuously order it, and then bequeath whatever the profits come from it to to some foundation, to some charitable foundation, and at least the work will continue to exist, continue to make money, and hopefully fund some good in the world. That's what I would like to set up, something like that. And in the end, I think I may also just give away the copyright at the end to the world, when I'm done with it. It's just have fun, kids. Have fun. Because the thing is in the end, it's like Daphne said, I'm not gonna be here. So it's like, because I won't let anybody touch it while I'm alive. But when I'm gone, have fun. So I think that's something I might consider doing. So
how do I pitch an Oswald story to?
Listen, man. My mother's 86. My grandfather died at 96. I'm gonna be around for a minute. So go ahead, Tom. Answer your question.
There was a time that I really didn't care about that thought process, like the legacy of it. It really didn't concern me about it. But with your answer, JD, which you've given before, it was something that got in my head. And the only real community, I mean, I'm not to say that the comic book community hasn't embraced me and done great things for Big Dog Inc. and all that, but the only like sort of parallel community that I've sort of tapped into is the Oz community, where I've become sort of a pseudo celebrity through these invitations to all these Oz events and meeting all these different Oz people from all these different, segments, from music to plays to, movies to books to everything. So it's the only sort of like extra sort of depth that I have in a bonus community. And so I had kind of contemplated the thought process of like, when I go, hopefully Oz will be done, my story. And at that point I could set it up with the museum, who has been really great with, putting me into this community to be like, okay, you guys own this now, and you can sell this in perpetuity, and just it's part of the Oz community forever. At this point, you guys can take it, and I'm probably going to end up doing something like that, so that at minimum, that has both legacy, but more importantly, not for me legacy, but the expansion of the bomb legacy, the Oz legacy. Something else will exist, next to all these other things, next to Wicked and next to all this other stuff, for as long as they want to, mess around with it. But then the other side of things is, part of why I ask, about the comics is really the stuff that tends to last forever, crosses over into multimedia in some way, whether it becomes a TV show, cartoon, or movie or whatever. So and I'm a big movie guy. I love movies, so I've been actively in the process of trying to put a movie together for one of the things that I've got that I think would be relatively easy to do. And then in doing so, again, I would have sort of my stuff existing in another sort of space that might then draw people back. If they were to see the movie in 50 years, they might be like, well, this was based on a comic book. Like, let's go find this comic book. So I think that might be kind of like a fun sort of just thought process that, down the line, someone might stumble across these things either in the event that the comic book industry disappears. Who knows what it's going to look like in 50 years. Or, just as they're going through some garage sale and they're like, oh, look, here's a copy of Critter number 8. Like, what is this thing? And send people off on their journey to find the rest of these books. So yeah, I because I don't have really family to leave anything to. I don't have a wife or kids or any of that kind of stuff. So for me, it's kind of like it does stop with me, barring, again, like Daphne deciding she wants to make more Critter when I'm gone. It will end with me, and
it'll look a little different.
It'll be a little different. Yeah. But like the question kind of came from like the thought process. Like, for example, if Todd McFarlane passes, when Todd McFarlane passes, does Spawn disappear for the most part because the fans were there for Todd versus they were there for the project itself, right? Because I've seen creators who have passed, and then basically the stuff that they do just disappears. Not disappears like literally it's gone, but like the idea, the drive to it was clearly because of the creator, not specifically because they like that book. And so, for me, it's pretty obvious that when I'm gone, there's not going to be like some drive to anything else that somebody does with Big Dog Inc. There might be some, but it's not going to be the same. It's like, oh, Tom makes that. Now it's, oh, this other guy is doing it now that Tom's gone. And unless I can do something to level it up to a Spider-Man sense where, Stan can leave and somebody else comes in, unless I can level it up through whatever I can to through that multimedia sort of world, what I have is probably going to, disappear. And so to me, I kind of feel like that would be a cool thing to have that one aspect, which would be my Oz book, still exist in that Oz community as much as I can make it happen on my own. So yeah, just stuff to think about, everybody.
I think that what's funny is that the whole thing about Todd McFarlane, that are people really fans of Spawn, or are they really fans of Todd McFarlane? And the term that I recently learned is called parasocial accessory.
Okay.
So that's it's that phenomenon where a person is so famous that anything they make is actually considered a souvenir of the person that's being idolized, but the fans really don't care about that thing in and of itself. So yeah, that's kind of a thing where we're going to find out. It's like, do people really give a shit about Spawn, or did they just collect it because it was a parasocial accessory and a souvenir link to Todd McFarlane? And that concept is actually depressing too.
Yeah, and I mean, I think there's definitely people who like Spawn. There's definitely people who like the books that they're buying, regardless of the creator. I think that, I mean, that has to be some aspect of it. But I think that as long as, like, you know, we're using Spawn as the example, as long as Todd is there and they understand that Todd is sort of running the company and the decisions are being made by him, they're like, oh, this is what I want, right? But then when he's gone and other people are making those decisions, as we've seen actually with like Marvel, as different editors in chiefs, you know, go by the wayside and new guys come in, people complain about, oh my God, this guy doesn't know what he's doing, blah, blah, blah. So the first person to come in to Todd McFarlane Productions and be like, well, I'm in charge. I mean, that guy's going to get his ass handed to him really fast, I think, you know, unless he really has some smarts about how to, you know, take the company forward. So yeah, just weird stuff that gets in my head from time to time.
All right, cool. Yeah, I got a softball question for everybody. Who is the most underrated artist in indie comics today? That's not you. So yeah, so that's where for you. So I think Joey was next. So what are your thoughts on that?
For underrated indie artists?
Yeah.
Oh no, most of the indie artists I know have also worked in mainstream comics, so I wouldn't know if they're.
Well, we'll accept the float overs. You know, if they worked in both, that's fine.
They worked with both of them. Let me see. Like, I can't say the artist that worked on my comic because no one really knows her that much outside of Korea. So I don't know. I really enjoyed Mike Choi's Gochugaru, and maybe he's known well as a mainstream artist, but I think as independent and creator-owned stuff's really could be more appreciated.
All right, cool. Dennis, what are your thoughts?
You want me to give shout outs to the artists who work with me?
That's fine. You can do that. You know.
Well, I want to start with Adam Walters. He's sadly passed away, but his work was just dynamic. He could do Archie style comics. He could do superhero comics. He could do, you know, mystery comics. Just dig through the stuff that Adam did. And I do not understand why Archie didn't pick him up. I don't understand why Marvel or DC didn't pick him up, but they never did. You know, Adam was great. Currently, Henry Martinez, who's doing, you know, League of Champions and G-Girl stories with us, is somebody who could easily, you know, be working at Marvel or DC if they would ever take notice of him. Another artist is Dick Giordano's old assistant, Rob Jones, who is now our de facto regular Liberty Girl artist. He has really upped his game in the last 2 or 3 years. You know, look at the stuff that he was doing even when he was working with Dick. It's a little bit crude, but now it's sleek. It's elegant. It's nice stuff. So, although it's not going to help Adam, right? You know, Marvel and DC should maybe take notice both of Rob Jones and Henry Martinez. I would love to get them a bigger payday than I can provide them.
All right, cool. Zakkery, what are your thoughts?
The most underrated indie comic artist. I reckon my answer to that would be the creator of Apple Black. He goes by White Manga online.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, someone knows him. He's a Nigerian American artist. I did a collab with him a couple days ago where we like redrew some art from each other's comics, and his comic is absolutely incredible. It's some of the best artwork I've ever seen. I think he just recently did a deal with Webtoons, so now he's uploading it there as a colored version. So he's really underrated. He's really good.
All right, cool. Thane, what are your thoughts?
John Chad is an artist I like a lot, who's not super well known. He pops up all over the place, but he did this great book called Leo Geo's Miraculous Journey to the Center of the Earth. That's one of my favorite things ever. And it's like out of print, but you can find it online, but it's kind of expensive because people really like it. But he pops up. He does like kids comics and educational comics and stuff like that. But I want to see more Leo Geo because that's my favorite. And real quick, two local. I live here in Denver, so two like local artists I like a lot who are not well known at all is Joe Blablazo is his name. He's a really great artist, and Joe Oliver, who are both very, very independent artists, but they're both word.
All right, cool. Tom, what are your thoughts?
There's a few guys that I work with that I think are wildly underrated. Two of them, well, actually all of them do covers and interiors, but one of them has taken himself out of the interior realm. It's because he's too slow, and when you see his work, you'll understand why he's too slow. But his name's Larry Hutchison, and he's, I mean, absolutely blows me away. And every now and then I tap him on the shoulder, like, "You're going to do interiors again, right? Like, you just tell me when you want to do interiors, because I'm ready. I'm here. I'll have a script for you tomorrow. Like, let's go." And he's like, "Well, no, no, I'm going to focus on covers." I was like, "Okay, well then here's a cover for you. You need a cover again, but I'm going to come back and I'm going to bug you a lot until you finally break down, until you do some interiors for me." So Larry is fantastic. Pedro Perez is also fantastic. He has a great animated style. He also does interiors and covers. Just gorgeous. Looks like it's a cartoon. It's got a nice little soft blur to it. It's just gorgeous stuff. And I work with him whenever I can. We just did a cover with him for the Plan 39 from Outer Space, where he did our space girl doing the Han Solo homage in the video game arcade. That was Pedro. And then a guy that I've worked with kind of sporadically, just because his schedule doesn't allow for a ton of work. His name is Jason Hare, and he's been doing a lot of our anthology books, like our once a year anthology things. Done a bunch of covers for us, which are just gorgeous. And he is going to be doing the Shark book that we're finally going to be getting out next year. He's going to be doing the entire interiors of the Shark book. So you guys will get to see what he's really capable of doing next year with that.
All right, cool. Daphne, what are your thoughts?
This one was a tough one, but I think, I don't know if they're underrated, but kind of like the lack of reaction to them is what surprises me the most, and that's the Zhang brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these guys, and mind you, I'm pretty sure it's the two brothers and 37 other people behind them doing this, because the amount of work that they produce is incredible. But I think that for like the work that they do and the hand animation and everything that they do, that I don't understand that why they're not bigger names than they are. Like, even though they, like, Polito works with them, like everybody, like all the big names, like Pat Shand works with them, all the big names in Indy and whatnot, they work with these guys, but like, you can tell that they work with them because they like the work, not because having them on your books does anything.
As far as sales,
right? Like,
right. Yeah, the name brand is not there. Yeah.
Right. They have no name brand whatsoever, but people work with them, but they get work because the quality of their work is undeniable. But for some reason, it's like that doesn't translate to audience interest. And that actually has been like bugging me for the longest time. As somebody who does want to get artwork from them, I had to like really like understand the only reason I want their work is because I want it, not because it's going to do anything for any Kickstarter that I put that artwork on. And for the life of me, I don't understand why. Like, do people like really just like do audiences like just dislike that style so much?
I think it is. I think it leans heavy into the manga style stuff, which is obviously its own
right
thing,
yeah, which is my suspicion.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So you really have to be one of these sort of collectors or fans or whatever that has sort of a wider sort of interest. Like, I don't think that Marvel, for example, would be like, oh, come draw Black Cat for us, because it would be, it might just be too much for them. I don't know. I don't know.
I guess like CB went through his anime manga phase back in the day, and now it's like, oh, we're not going to do that again.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but
I don't know, but you're right. They are fantastic artists.
Right.
And you know, I know that they're on Mendoza's stuff. I know they're
right.
on,
Exactly. They're constantly
Bill McKay's stuff,
Mendoza,
and they're also very they'll do all the NSFW stuff and that kind of thing. So that's sort of their value is like, we're going to put you on the books that we know the boob guys are going to buy.
Right. But the thing is though, like, I can tell that they can do like I would ask them more to do pretty covers for me, and I know that they could do that too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wouldn't be interested in getting like nude covers from them, but I know that they could give me like, you know, give me some like Lotus Wars shit, you know, that looks really pretty, you know.
Yeah,
and I know that they'd be able to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree with you. I think that they're known for the NSFW.
Right.
And so that puts a little bit of a weird
right.
twinge into, am I just going to get a bunch of boob covers? Like, no, you're an art director. Tell them what you want.
Right, exactly. You know?
But if that's sort of their reputation.
Is the National Society for Friendly Women?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Very friendly. They'll give you the shirt off their back
every single time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So the Zhang brothers. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, obviously,
XONG. If anyone wants to look them up. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
You know, for me, obviously, it's my artist, Jade Gonzalez and Aurelio Tillis. But another person I have worked with who I think is underrated is Donnie Harijawa. He's the guy that did this cover back here. He's worked on Vampirella, but he does a lot of indie stuff. You know, he does a lot of guys who do Kickstarter. He's currently working with JD, the other JD, who sometimes.
But I think he's also doing work for Ethereal.
Yeah, I think he's doing work for Ethereal, and I think he's actually very underrated for, you know, or just, you know, he's just, people just don't notice him, I think, as much as they should. Because I remember when I first saw him and I got these covers from him, I was like, let me get these covers now while I can afford them before he ends up getting scooped up by Marvel and DC, and I'm never gonna be able to get these covers from him. And I ended up getting like 8 covers from him, and I've gotten more since then. So, but Donnie's great.
I guess that's the benefit of getting scooped up by Marvel and DC and realizing they don't pay.
That's the sad part now. You know?
Well, they're very good about sending out royalties.
Well, 20 cents at a time. Daphne, you're up.
So I guess to like dovetail back to the original question that started off the show, that you know, what we're thankful for this, you know, for this year, I guess, or just in general. So looking back on 2025 and everything that we've done, what are the things that we're not going to bring in to 2026 with us?
That's interesting. Dennis, you're up.
Things that we're not going to bring into 2026.
Right. You know, that maybe you did something this year that you said, it's like, you know what? I don't need to do that again.
I think you've stumped me. That's not a question I've even thought about. It's kind of a, you know, play it by ear, do the things I want to do. And, you know, maybe phrasing it that way, something that I did that I'm not going to do again, perhaps.
Right.
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay. I am not going to offer a book until I know it's ready to go.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's more like a New Year's resolution from 2025. But yeah, I'm going to carry that resolution over into the far future, as you know, for long as I live. Yeah, so.
No, that's a good
the
piece
only
of
answer I have for you. I'm sorry.
No. Listen, it's a good piece of advice. It's one that I live by. So, Zakkery, what are your thoughts?
Something that I did before that I'm not going to do again is work on a comic by myself. Ever since I started working with a team, it has just been so much easier to actually get things done. I never want to go back to just being the only one working on a project.
All right, cool. Thane, what are your thoughts?
I did a Christmas show recently. I do a lot of conventions, and I've been I started with comic conventions, I started with horror conventions. And I was like, I'll just do any art convention. For the most part, they've been good. But I just did like a big Christmas show, and it was terrible. So I'm never doing that Christmas show again.
All right, cool. Joey, what are your thoughts?
In regards to comics, yeah, I probably got some conventions that I did this year that I won't do next year. And I think another thing I'm going to do is I'll delegate some more of the things with the projects to others, because I have been picking up a lot of the work with the actual the crowdfunding and some of the production, everything aside of art and story. And I'm going to delegate a lot of the other things to some other people in it. Also, since I work with licensors, I think one of the things I'm going to do is kind of keep my licensors on track so that I'm not waiting for 8 months for approval on something and then suddenly having 1 month to get stuff done.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Try to keep ahead of that.
Yep, keeping ahead of the curve. So it's tough. All right, cool. Tom, what are your thoughts?
There's conventions I won't do again. I think that we all kind of have that, but I've really kind of hit a wall with some of this. This is like there's just not a point. There's artists I won't work with anymore. We'll just leave it at that. And but I think what I won't do next year. This year was really whacked for me with my mom passing and stuff. So it was just I didn't know what the hell was going on. I didn't know how to sort of get back in the saddle with creative or anything. So I next year is I won't slow down. I have to. I realize that even in my creative space, it needs to be constantly moving. It's the Rolling Stone thought process. The Rolling Stone, you know, and I really found that this year. It was like I stopped for a long time, and it was really hard to like sit back at this desk and start working again, start writing and start, you know, like, oh, I have to do this book with these people and they're waiting on me for stuff. Like it's so hard to stop and then pick it back up. So I'm already, as we come into the end of the year, I'm already way ahead of where I wanted to be a few months ago, because again, I put myself back into that let's go mode. So I won't stop. I won't slow down next year.
All right, cool. I will not be skipping a step next year. All right. So what I tend to do is whenever especially for Oswald, I always have a hard time finding artists. So what I tend to do is I'll tend to hire an artist and I'll ask him to do a pinup or a cover. And then after that, I might have him do a couple more like interior, like just a couple of like pinup pieces. Then after that, I'll have him do a short story. And when I say short, it'll be anywhere from 1 to 6 pages. And then if I like it, I'll then commission him to do longer series, 32 pages. I have stories that run up to 120 pages, whatever the case may be. I will not be skipping that middle step.
Yay.
Next year, because I skipped that middle step this year. That did great on the pinup cover thing. That was really great. I just wasn't liking the direction of the and I just skipped a step and I put them right on a full length thing, and I was just like, oh, that's not working. So it sometimes happens. So yeah, not doing that one. So Daphne, answer your own question. What are you not doing?
I am not relying on social media as much for next year. I'm leaving the idea of market harder in the trash bin. When I had to take care of some stuff for my mother and I had to be in Florida for a month, actually 2 months. I made it a point to not have social media on my phone. And I felt such a creative freedom by not allowing myself to pretty much obsess on social media, either by doom scrolling or the whole like, oh, how can I market better and blah, blah, blah. And this is like, you know what? Like I said before, after 11 issues, I kind of know where I stand. And I'm at a point where it's like, I feel that my creative endeavors are more important than whether I'm posting to an apathetic crowd on social media. And so what I decided to do was I'm going to just concentrate on the platforms that I feel will help me grow the audience that I have already and also attract the people that I want to add to that audience instead of like scattershotting. I want to focus more on YouTube. I want to focus more on Substack. I want to focus more on my mailing list and keep it that tight. And just kind of like be smarter about how I promote, because the working harder, the marketing harder is just taking way too much energy away from me that I cannot afford. So that's what I'm going to be doing for 2026.
All right. Cool. Tom, I don't know. Do you have a softball you want to throw in there real quick?
I don't do softballs. You should know that by now. I go deep on these questions.
All right. Do you want to throw a deep one in there?
You got 6 minutes. You got 6 minutes. So no, I'm sure you got something up your sleeve somewhere.
All right. Well, all right. Well,
I have a question I'd like to ask.
Go ahead. Go for it.
You may or may not know that we have a YouTube channel, The Heroic Voice. Who wants to be a guest some weekend?
Yeah, listen.
Sure, absolutely.
I'll come on. Of course.
Yeah. Alrighty. You've got my email address. Drop me a note so that I can have yours, and we'll make an arrangement.
All right. Cool. Yeah, definitely. Sounds good. What do you guys discuss?
Comic books or anything else that's of interest to you. It's The Heroic Voice is for comic book creators and other interesting people. So, it's.
Oh, so you qualify, JD.
There you go. Thank you. All right, cool.
But by all means, just drop me an email. I put it in the chat, and we'll figure out what weekend works. Love to have you on.
Yeah, definitely. I love it. All right, cool. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've made it to hour 2, so I think we're good at this point. So thank you so much for being here. You guys are all awesome. But let's start with Dennis. Dennis, please, where can they find you and your work, sir?
Oh, we have social media all over the place. Facebook, every place like that. Just look for Heroic Publishing. Just do a search, you'll find it. It's out there. And I don't remember what the tags are on every one of those social media platforms, so I'm not going to try to remember them. But, look for Heroic Publishing, you'll find us. Facebook, X, Blue Sky, Gab, Minds, Parlor. We're all over the place. And we have our own website at heroicmultiverse.com. So go there. It'll keep you abreast of what's going on, what's coming up. And the website that crashed a week or so ago is functional again, even if all of the links don't work yet. The functionality is restored. So you can register and send us notes if you have notes. And also look for us on Kickstarter.
Yes. All right, cool. Zakkery.
You can find me at Skynex Art on YouTube and Instagram. Those are the 2 main platforms I use.
All right, cool. Very nice. Thane. where can we find you and your work, sir?
Yeah, so my website is just my name, ThaneBenson.com. You can find me there. I'm on Instagram at ThaneBenson. I'm on whatever the fuck Twitter is called now, at ThaneBenson. And yeah, most of the social media I'm at Thane Benson. You can find me there. I'm also on Patreon, and I do have like a free tier on Patreon too, and that's where I put most of my stuff. So check me out.
All right, cool. Joey, where can we find you and your work, sir?
Yeah, on OnlyFans. I'm on Twitter or X as TDL_comics, and then Instagram as TDL_studios, or you can find me on Kickstarter. The store is the Dice Latte on both Twitter and Instagram.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Tom, where can we find you and your work, sir?
BigDogInc.com if you want the books. We do most of our stuff on Facebook here first, and then it goes out to Twitter and whatever. We do have a TikTok. There's not a ton there yet, but we're kind of starting to work on whatever that is going to be. And I just realized, Daphne, you were using the same chair.
Oh,
like it's even the same
you
color.
bought at Staples, right? Staples, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were on sale.
That's correct. Yes.
Wow. I can't tell you apart now.
Amazing.
That'd be crazy. Tom's not even wearing his ears.
Right.
I know. We'll fix that. We'll fix that eventually.
Did your ears break?
The wire thing is wonky. So yes, that's the short answer is yes.
All right, Daphne, where can we find you and your work?
You can find my work at egoworks.com, EGOWORKS, where you can read Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn for free. But if you prefer your fantasy to be more of a furry Lord of the Rings adventure, you can also read Tall Tales there for free. It's an archive of over 1,000 pages worth of comic book work. So plenty of reading there. And while you're at the website, make sure to sign up for my newsletter where you can keep up to date with all of my art, sketchbooks, comics, Kickstarters, all that fun stuff, and get a free PDF comics bundle just for joining. So you get to try out Eagle Raven for free, Tall Tales for free, and the Oswald Chronicles for free. So there you go. So egoworks.com, EGOWORKS.
All right, cool. And you can find me here most Sunday nights. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all those different places. Most importantly on Kickstarter with Magi's Grace currently, and in the next 2 weeks with the Oswald Chronicles again. So that'll be coming up one more time this year. And please, everyone, go check out the show notes. In the show notes are links to all of these creators. All of them are doing fantastic works. So please check out those links. Click those links. Check out these creators. Buy their books. They're all doing great work. All of them, like I said, all of them are doing fantastic work. So please go check them out. Go buy more books, especially indie comics. And just remember this, everyone. Read more indie comics, especially ours. Thank you and have a good night.
Good night.